Welcome back. It's been about a year and a half. um, Welcome back to Frickin' Scary with Holly and Mallory. It has been a hot minute. I Technology sucks. I just want to say that we've been trying to figure out how to stream on OBS and Discord and all that. So if someone younger than 25 knows anything about that, you can leave a comment for us.
I think we need more like 16-year-olds because
No, 100%. I have no idea what's going on. All right, so I'm excited. We are talking about The Shining. Okay, quick synopsis for anyone on the planet who has been living under a rock for the last 30 years and hasn't seen The Shining. This is an amazing, amazing film starring Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. And the gist of the story is Jack Nicholson's character is basically a recovering alcoholic. He gets this amazing opportunity, this amazing job to work up at this hotel in the middle of the mountains, right? In the middle of nowhere, in the middle of winter. So all the guests are going to be gone. Him and his wife and their young child, I think is about 5, go up to the hotel. What was the name of it again, Mallory? I keep forgetting.
The Overlook Hotel.
Yeah, the Overlook Hotel. And they're basically going to be caretakers for the Overlook with a couple other people there. That's it for the whole season.
And no, nobody else is there but them.
Oh, that's right. The caretaker guy left. He went on vacation. See, it's been so long. So he goes up there. He's like a recovering alcoholic, and he's a writer. And basically trying to be. And so the idea was, this is great. You know, I'm trying to get dry. I'm trying to make things right. I'm going to go write my book up in the mountains with no distractions in the middle of the Overlook Hotel in the middle of nowhere. And I won't ruin all the story for you, but it kind of alludes to like, he's a bit of a, I don't know, aggressive. He's
psycho.
He's a little bit violent, a little bit. And so,
a little bit. Anyway, he broke his kid's arm for spilling soda or wine or something on his papers.
I'm not trying to give all the deets, man.
I don't even think they talk about. Well, they do a little bit in the movie. It's more in the book. They talk more about like his past abusive history, but definitely in the movie they downplay it a lot. Typical 1970s, machismo, exactly. Oh, it's not that bad.
And
I deserved it.
Oh, he didn't mean it. He's going to change his ways. No, exactly. Idiot. P.S. If you haven't read the book also,
read it.
Stephen King. Beautiful, beautiful person. Anyway, so story continues. They show up at the beginning of the season. Snowfall comes. Basically, everyone goes crazy. And basically, they start seeing dead people. And the reason for the title, The Shining, is their young son is able to see these people that have died, and they talk to him, and they talk to him in his head, and they call that The Shining.
Yeah.
And so basically shenanigans happen, and I mean, I could spoil the end. I think everybody kind of knows.
I think at this point, it's been like 40, 50 years, right?
So basically, everything escalates. He goes crazier and crazier and crazier, basically tries to kill his family. He winds up dead in the end. Mom and the kid are okay. There's a really gruesome, great knife scene. Ooh, it's so good. So that's the synopsis for The Shining. One of the all-time best scary thriller books, movies, like the genre of music / movie / these are real people. It just, his mind, everything, it was so good. Such a good psychological thriller.
It was.
So we'll start there. I think, Mallory, you're going to kick us off.
Yeah. So we're not going to talk about like the whole movie, but we're just going to talk about our favorite scenes.
Days.
I know, right? I could go into very high detail, but so we're just going to talk about our favorite scene. So favorite, least favorite, and then like little things that we love about the movie. But to start, my favorite scene, okay? And I think it's because this is where you realize that even though it seemed like Jack, and that's funny that his name's Jack in the movie and in real life,
movie,
whatever. But Even though it seems like he's been kind of normal, just a little stressed out because, he's trying to come off or trying to stay on the wagon, and he's really not getting his book done too well. In this scene, you kind of realize that he has been crazy this whole time. Like, the hotel has already taken him over, and it's the all work and no play scene where Shelley Duvall, or Wendy from the movie, is trying to find Jack because her son went into a certain room of the hotel and he got attacked by that naked lady with like the
Yes.
gross boots, and so Wendy's like trying to find Jack because she wants to take him off the mountain. Of course, it's already in the middle of winter. There's no way off the mountain except with the snowcat, like the snowmobile. So she goes to try to find him, and she goes to his desk where he was working, and he's not there. And she looks at all the papers that he has stacked up right there of all his work, and every single page is just all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And it's just like page after page, and in different formats and in different like type settings and stuff like that. And you're like oh my God,
like
the dedication.
Paragraphs and then sentences.
Yeah. And then like a triangle set
same.
up and like, yeah. And you're just like, wow, there's like hundreds of pages of this. And he's nuts. He's nuts. Yeah. And you're just like, wow. And you feel so scared for her because in this movie, Shelley Duvall is like, she's so weak. Like, you just want to shake her and like protect yourself. But she's just like this like withering flower, and she's just like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then
fun fact, in real life, Shelley Duvall she did interviews after the movie saying how hard it was to film the movie, that it was actually taxing on her personally.
Yeah, and I'll bet that came out in that because she looked tired AF. She looked tired.
You want to talk about dark circles? That girl's eyeballs, and they were huge. They were sunk so far back.
They were as big as my eyeglasses. They were as
big as her buck teeth sticking out.
Side note, that's what I loved about 70s movies too, is that nobody was like good looking.
Nobody was attractive, and everybody had their teeth were mangled, and
they were like this. You were like, this movie rocks.
We're like, this is so real.
Yeah, you can really relate to it.
I do love that scene.
Yeah, and it's really good. And I love the part right after where he catches her reading all the papers, and then he comes after her, and she has like the baseball bat, and she's like, no.
Okay. And if you've ever seen that scene, you know, I swear she is swinging with all of her strength, but her weak little bird arms are like, don't come near me, Jack. What are you doing, Jack? And her voice gets high pitched and super high, and you're like, oh my gosh, woman, kick him down the stairs already. What are you doing?
The worst.
I love it.
She's the worst.
I love it. I like that you picked that one. So mine is actually way before that. So there is a very small scene, and probably because I've seen this movie so many times, I think about it all the time. But there is a very, very small scene way before she comes at him with the bat. And they're still kind of happy. And there might even be a couple of people there. I don't remember the whole scenario. But he's laying in the bed, and he just woke up. And she's bringing him eggs.
Breakfast in bed, yeah.
Okay, in bed. And for about 3 to 5 seconds, there's a look on his face of pure insanity. It's very hard to see. Jack Nicholson did such a good job on the scene, but he looks at her like, I am going to kill you.
Yeah, it's almost like he doesn't even recognize her. He just sees her as like something he's going to get.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a very, very, very small, perfectly timed foreshadowing. And he basically all of a sudden just smiles and like, thank you for the eggs, darling. Mm-hmm. That scene of all the scenes in the whole movie, if you've seen it enough, is the scene that I went, oh, like, he's crazy. Like,
he's crazy already.
Right then and there. Mm-hmm. And his whole face changes, the whole demeanor changes. I have seen people in real life, right before they're about to do something real sketchy, their face changes, their eyes change, and then I swear, like, demons come out of their body.
Seriously.
So that's my favorite scene because she's just innocently like taking care of the hotel and her kid, and she's bringing this man breakfast in bed to support
Okay,
his
but
writing career. And he's like, "I will strangle you in your sleep," and then smiles at her.
and
Thank
then
you,
eats the
dear.
eggs. Why
Gosh,
though?
she's such.
Why? Okay, in that scene they talk about how he asked her, "What time is it?" And she's like, "Oh, it's about 11:30." And I'm like, "Who can sleep till 11:30?" And she's like, "We've been staying up late." I'm like, "Have you been staying up till 4 in the morning?" Because literally that's what time I'd have to go to bed in order to wake up at 11:30 in
Right.
the afternoon.
I,
Like,
well, I'm
I
I'm
don't know how
curious
people can sleep like
to.
that.
But think about it like this: like, no one else is there. There's no entertainment. There's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. So they're just roaming around the hotel all day. She's the
Yeah.
only one that works. She's the only one that literally does anything in the whole
Anything.
movie. And
Yeah.
he just sits there and pretends to type. So I love the sequence. Like, that's my favorite scene. And then your scene comes after. And it's just, he does such a good job at these subtlety, like, oh, I've already gone crazy, but you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
And then
Like
Jack
not yet.
Nicholson already does that creepy smile. You know, remember he was the Joker?
With the
Yeah.
eyebrows.
And he's got these like, did I look like him?
I don't know about the teeth, but
He literally is like, oh man, I have no shame. I'm
oh
such a
my
Jack
God.
Nicholson fan. But yeah,
Oh,
Shelley,
everything he does is great.
everything he does is great. But yeah, Shelley Duvall talked about it. She said, "Oh my gosh, this movie was so taxing."
I
To
think it was
and
the
just
director that did it to her.
I
What's his name?
something. He was a yeah. I don't remember.
It was
The other actor said
yeah,
that too. That he was like, "Do it again, do it again, do it again,
yeah,
do it
like
again."
100,000 takes. Yeah. God, what
Okay,
was the director's name? I can't believe I forget.
you'll think of it in a minute.
I know. I'll
Well,
think of it
okay.
after we're
So
not
so
recording.
what's your least favorite scene?
Okay, and it's not that it's a bad scene. It's that I don't understand it and I don't know what it means. And I've tried to, like, I think back to like the book. I'm trying to like associate it with like trying to explain it through the book because you know sometimes there'll be things in a movie and you're like, oh, that's what happened in the book. That's why they put it in the movie, but they don't
Yes.
explain it like they do in the
Yes.
book. And hold on, I have to know what the director's name is, or I'm
Oh
going
my
to
gosh, you're
die.
so obsessed.
I am.
I love it.
Stanley Kubrick. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And we knew that.
I was thinking
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver because I'm thinking S, and I'm like, it's not Sigourney Weaver, you dumb.
Oh my gosh, we should do this synopsis on aliens though.
Oh, for sure,
P.S. Okay, you
for
just brought
sure.
it up. Okay.
Um, okay, so this is the very, very last scene of the movie. He has already died. They're already on their way down the mountain in the snowcat. It kind of like fades out, and then it comes back, and it's a close up of that picture of everybody from like 1937 or something, and it's like a 4th of July party, and everyone's dressed up, and he is in the photo. And I'm like,
Right.
okay. And so like I see it and I know it's like very poignant, but I'm like, why is he in the photo? Like, how is that possible when this was 50 or 40 years ago?
Right.
Does
Right.
it,
And
and I'm
and
always
we've
like,
talked about this too. Like, what were the so we had some theories, remember?
yeah.
I said that everyone who dies in the hotel ends up in the picture. What did you say?
Well, what I was thinking was maybe like he was there before, like maybe he like not reincarnated, but like he had like a family member there before or something like that that looked like him. And that's why the hotel brought him back.
Right.
I don't know. See, that's what I
Mm.
mean. Like, I
Oh,
don't
you
understand
mean
it.
like the hotel is a presence itself, and so it found him and brought him back.
Yeah.
Sort of like the movie House on Haunted Hill with Liam Neeson and oh shoot, Nell. You know, it's
Oh,
all
you
about
mean The Haunting?
the haunting. Sorry, and
Yeah.
she and the children call to her through the phone book for the
Yeah, because she
sleep
was like a
thing.
reincarnation of the original.
Oh, I love that. That's a
Yeah.
really great theory.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can think because I'm like, okay, how does he, or it
How
would
did
actually
he
make
end up
sense
there?
like yours. Like they all died, so they all end up in this picture just because that's how because the
Because
hotel is an entity of its own. That's why it's
yes,
happening. So I mean,
yes.
it makes sense. It's just that's why it's my least favorite, only because it makes me feel stupid because I don't understand it.
You know what? I would agree with you. I think it's more just like it was unnecessary. I think.
Yeah, like if you're gonna have it, explain it at least, or at least
Yeah.
have it earlier in the movie, like, oh, I recognize this guy in the picture, like, oh, he used to work here 30 years ago, and his son actually works here now, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, it's bringing back family members or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
You just made me think too. Can you even count on one hand how many scenes Jack had with his son?
Like literally two or
Do they
three.
even have scenes together in the movie?
They do, like when
Like right in the
Danny
beginning,
goes,
I remember, yeah, like in
yeah,
the
right at the
car and
beginning,
stuff.
when Danny goes to get his fire truck and Jack, his mom's like, be quiet, he's sleeping, but Jack's not actually sleeping, and he goes and he holds him and he's like, Dad, would you
For
ever hurt me
just a
and
minute.
Mom? And he's like,
Yeah.
no, no.
But that's it though. They don't even have any other scenes together. So
I mean, when he's
actually,
chasing him in the thingy.
oh, apparently we're getting a call.
I know it's
Um,
my new ringer. Hold on, you can't hear it. It's my ringer. It's Nightmare Before a
oh,
Nightmare
that's
on
so
Elm
funny.
Street. 'Cause
You're
it's
so
Halloween
funny.
season.
I'm getting excited for Halloween. But but actually you're just making me think now like that would make sense though because he gets so detached from them when they're there.
Yeah,
He just gets so isolated even though they're already isolated.
they are. The hotel separates him from his
Okay.
family so that he can kill them.
Oh, see? We need to talk about this movie more. I need to
Yeah,
go
I know.
watch it. I love The Shining. Okay.
What's
Uh
yours?
my least favorite scene, and not for reasons that people would think, but honestly because I just loved his character. The caretaker, the black guy, what's his name?
Dick Halloran.
Okay, Dick Halloran. First of all, he is such I like wanted to meet him in person. I feel like he's so real in that character. He like I believed him.
Yeah.
My least favorite scene is when he gets stabbed. Is when
Oh
he
yeah,
gets
when he dies. Not even
I
stabbed. He got axed.
he gets axed. I that it to me, I know someone had to die and I know someone had to die horribly, but I was so disappointed that it was him. Does he die in the book? He does die in the
No.
book.
Mm-mm.
No, he doesn't die in the
He
book. That's
survives. Yeah.
why. That's why I was so upset because in the movie he killed him
I
flat
know.
out. And that it just, I don't know, it wasn't artistically for me, it wasn't necessary. Sort of like some people would say the naked bathroom scene with the old lady is not necessary, but I personally love that scene. I think it's
Yeah.
disgusting and amazing.
Yeah, I mean
And
it's kind of gross and you're like, really? But at the
yeah,
same time, she didn't stay good looking. She ended up gross. So you're like, "Oh,
no.
it's to show that it's gross. Like
And
it's creepy."
I just think it's hilarious that her boobs are that saggy and old and
Like
gross. And I just
one's right here and then one's
yeah,
way
like
4 feet
she
down.
could,
Yeah.
you know, what's that song? You know, you could tie him in a bow, you can throw him over
Throw
your
them over your
shoulder.
shoulder. Yes.
I I'm not a prude. I don't care for like nudity, but that scene is hilarious to me. I don't know how else to say it. I don't
Oh,
even
it
think
creeps
it's
me out.
disgusting. Oh, I think it's hilarious. I find it absolutely appallingly hilarious. I feel like
Oh,
I've
yeah.
laughed with my mom about it or something.
You're crazy. That
I
scene's
know.
so
Anyway,
creepy.
so yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
does
my
suck.
least
It does
favorite.
suck when because they could have, you know what, he could have injured him so that he wasn't able to help them, but they killed him. Like there's no coming back from that.
Yeah.
Like an axe to the chest, like nah, it just
Also,
ain't gonna work.
oh man, he was like he gutted him really.
Hmm.
Also, just for a minute, can we talk about how annoying Wendy's character was though?
That's what I'm talking about. Like, come on, girl. Like, have some freaking conganas,
She
conganas. Like, get
she
that back
said like
together.
where are her cojones?
Yeah.
Where's the huevos? She's so weak-minded, weak physically, but annoyingly so.
Yeah.
Like oh Jack, and the way she would talk, I don't know what to do, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna slap you into next Wednesday.
Hmm.
Like get on your feet. And it's very like telling about women and like how different things were. When did this movie come out? 1985, I think.
Um,
Or no,
1980.
before that, yeah,
1980.
before we were born. So I don't know. She just was annoying. I just wanted to throw that out there. Everyone's gonna hate me for that, but she was annoying.
Well,
I didn't
I
like her.
think she was so weak because she had been dealing with his rage, his anger, his abuse for so long. And it tears you down when you have to deal with somebody like that and you're just walking on eggshells all the time. Like,
Ah,
you
that's
become
true.
this shell of a person. So I get it, but I still was just like, oh my God. I mean, eventually in the end, she gets away. Although she does something so dumb at the end where
So
you're like, yeah,
stupid.
girl, you got that snow cat and
Oh,
stuff. But then at the end, she's
I
like,
can't.
she has her knife and she's running. And you're like, good, you have your knife. And then she sees her little boy come out of the maze and she just drops the knife. Like,
I
Jack
know.
could come out of that maze. Keep the knife. Oh, it's just
Also,
too
can we
much.
talk about how she was holding the knife? She's
Oh, like
like,
all limp
she's
wristed
like,
and
oh man, I might stab someone with this. No, baby, no,
you're
whatever's
going to end up
happening,
nicking yourself.
you're
Yeah.
gonna literally stab yourself on accident. Because she's like holding it as if like she was casually cutting a chicken. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, cool. What else did you want to talk about? The music, right?
Well, that was one of the things, like how you were saying that, how you were talking about like drawing with the picture, that the hotel was like drawing them in, drawing them to be
Yeah.
there. So at the very beginning of the movie, um, the music and the scene is Jack driving from Boulder, Colorado, all the way up to the Overlook, and it takes about 3 hours. And so, what's up? Oh,
And
so
it's like switchback mountain roads. It's not an easy
exactly, and it's
pass.
just winding, and the whole time the Symphony Fantastique music is coming on, and it's just like do do
Do,
do
do,
do
do,
do, and you're
do,
just like
do.
watching it, and you're like, wow, this progression of him just going to this hotel takes forever, and you realize that he is making his way. He is making his way to insanity. And as he, every step of the way, as he gets to the hotel, he is making his way towards killing his family from
Like closer and closer,
closer and
like
closer.
Jaws, bada,
Yeah,
bada,
impending
and you
doom.
know it's like,
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
it's like
Yeah,
he's
because
driving to
even
his destiny.
even the drive up there, he's like happier in the beginning of the movie, right? Right in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Then they get in the car and he's already like irritated with the boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So even while they're driving, he's starting the progression of. I didn't even think about that.
yeah.
I love it.
No,
I
I
love
love that.
that. I love that. Berlioz was so I for anyone who's interested, I've studied music classically. That's what I have my degree in, and we studied Berlioz, and he was such an incredible musician and composer. And he basically like his style of music was so appealing. It was so modern for his time, and so many people have stolen like all his motifs and all of those things.
Oh,
I'm not gonna nerd out. I could. I'm pretty sure there's like a spirit over here, by the way. There all isn't there always somebody behind me? So it just that his Symphony Fantastique is like phenomenal, like one of the best. Like you listen to the whole thing top to bottom, side to side. Don't miss a second of it. It's so good.
yeah, it is, and it's creepy. It's very like
And
dark.
there's no other music in the entire movie.
There isn't, and that was something else that I wanted to talk about, is that the only other noises that you hear in this movie, only other like music, or I guess it's just sounds, is, I don't know if you ever noticed, but there's like a very low lying frequency that is kind of playing like a buzz. It's very
Hmm.
low frequency, and it'll
Like if
start
I
to like
turned up the movie really loud, I could hear it.
you could hear the white noise. It's almost like white noise, and it sort of it's sort of like,
Creepy.
yeah, it makes you feel like uneasy because it's just this vibration that's coming from it, and it actually goes up and down. Like you'll hear it kind of like rise as something bad's going to happen, but it's always there. It's always very low.
So it's like energy. Like
Yeah,
it's creating energy in the film
it's
film.
creating tension, a lot of tension.
Have you read anything or heard anything about it being there on purpose?
No, because I haven't. I just was noticing when I was watching it, and
You
I
know
was like,
this.
why do I feel so tense? And I've seen this movie 1,000 times.
It does have a buzz to it.
Uh-huh. And then
What
also
else?
there's that spot where it goes "Sweet," and like screeches, but like that's something totally
Yeah.
different. But
Okay,
like,
hold the phone.
yeah.
And you were telling me something about the little boy riding the bike. The
Oh yeah,
sound
the
that it
noise. Well, that I
makes.
actually
Tell me
heard
about that.
online. So when they were I guess when they were filming this movie, they had Danny going on his little big wheel and he was riding to the hotel. Well, it wasn't intentional that the noise from his riding was to be picked up. So you hear the whole like on the carpet, it's going,
Yeah,
and then
and
he
then it
hits
hits
the
the
floor and it goes.
clunk. Yeah, yeah.
But when they like listened to the playback, they were like, wow, this makes it even more creepy, just this noise of him riding through. And it kind of does because you realize like again, it's a feeling of
Yeah.
going towards what he's about to meet, which was the little girls and then the crazy lady.
And that noise in an entirely empty, huge hotel was probably very loud.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like even though they're all alone, him just riding the bike probably echoed through the whole
Yeah. It's just creepy. You
hotel.
can't hear anything else.
Do you love the scene with the two girls? That's like the most famous scene. Okay, if you guys have seen The Shining, that's the most famous scene with the twin girls at the end. They've obviously been murdered.
Yeah.
Do you like that scene?
You know, I do. It creeps me out because you know it's coming, and then every time it turns a corner, it's like it's not it, and then all of a sudden it is it, and they're there, and you're like, and then it flashes to where the dad had killed them, like the scene
Yep.
after they died, and you're like, oh, that was a brutal way to go. Like they were massacred.
They were hacked. They were
Yeah.
hacked up. I'll throw one more scene because I think we have time. I hate the bar scene. I hate the bar scene when he goes and there's a whole party and the waiter gets the cream on his arm. And that's when he goes to the bathroom and he realizes that guy used to be the caretaker. I don't know why I hate that scene. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I know that it's an important scene because it's sort of like the hotel needs to tell him, you're a part of this and we need you to participate and we need you to be more aggressive with this. Because what they're trying to do at the beginning is manipulate him. They're trying to do it very subtly, but it's not working because the little boy is, not he's not obeying. And then the wife is going towards the radio and she's starting to say, like, we need to go back down the mountain.
So this is more literal action of the entities that are.
They're like, okay, enough is enough, and we need you to do this. We need you to know that we're using you.
I think that I value and respect like old school movies for what they are, and there's a lot of corniness in like late 70s, early 80s movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that was my only like, it was just a little like corny. I don't know. That was a random sidebar, but
no, I think that's why it was. I think because he was just like, you've always been here, sir, and they need disciplining. And you're like, oh, shoot, they're serious. Like, they really want to hurt this kid. And the hotel literally starts helping him. I mean, they unlock the freezer for him when she locks him in there. Or not the freezer, but the pantry. Remember when she locks him in?
Yeah, that's true.
And they let him out.
That's true. Oh, man, the scene where she gets him into the pantry. I just want to hit her again. Like, what are you doing?
I know. And you can see for a second after she locks him in there that she almost thinks about letting him out.
Literally turned and was like, I don't think I'm doing the right thing here. And you're like, do not open the lock. Like, everybody in the theater had to be yelling at her. Also, when she's trying to get out the window of the bathroom and she's too big. Can we just talk about that scene being a literal replica of the garage door scene from Scream? Where she can't fit her fat butt through that square either? Okay.
The thing is, though, is that window, if she would have just closed it and then broke the glass, she could have fit through because she was like 45 pounds.
Wendy wasn't the smartest whip. She wasn't the smartest.
She really wasn't. She really wasn't. I'm surprised she made it out.
You know what, Shelley Duvall, if you ever watch this, we actually really love you.
No, it's not. It's just this movie. Her character.
It's just
her character's like so frustrating.
I have seen Popeye with Shelley Duvall and
Robin Williams
probably 50 times. That was one of my dad's favorite movies.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen her as Olive Oyl?
Okay, so I'm gonna get so much hate, but I'm not the biggest fan of Robin Williams. Like, I know it's really sad that he died, and he's actually kind of funny. Like, certain movies I'm okay with, like Mrs. Doubtfire, and I actually love The Birdcage. He's really good in The Birdcage. But that's it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of his comedy. He's just a little too like he doesn't know when to stop.
You know what? I guess we grew up with him doing like SNL skits, and it wasn't just movies. So I just had a love for him, and I think he's a genuine actor / comedian.
Yeah, he seems like a really cool guy, like in real life.
Like Tom Hanks have that, like, I could do a really sentimental movie or I could do comedy. So one of my favorite movies with Robin Williams actually is What Dreams May Come, which is not a comedy at all.
I've never seen it. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. Again, I don't really purposely watch Robin Williams.
I know. We talk about movies. Whenever we talk about movies, I always am reminded of other movies that I've watched. So.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of the biz on The Shining, y'all. We left out big chunks. You gotta watch it. It definitely is one of those, like, how do you say it? Not just pop culture, but like genre
cult, like a cult favorite type thing.
Yeah.
You have to watch it. You have to watch it because I mean, it's not going to have boobs. It's not. I mean, well, it's going to have boobs, but not good ones. 70s boobs.
Ones, yeah.
But it's so good. Like, there's not going to be a bunch of jump scares and stuff like that. It's not a dumb modern scary movie. It's a well thought out, genuine horror film.
And to follow that up, if you've seen, Dr. Sleep and all of that, there isn't just The Shining from Steve, what's his name? Stephen King. This is really like a series for him. So The Shining, how thick is The Shining, the book, do you think?
Oh, like this?
It's like this big. So like, this is not an afternoon read. My recommendation, especially if you have kids or something, you definitely watch The Shining in a completely pitch black room.
Oh yeah.
Noise, no lights, no food, nobody making little crunching noises.
Yeah, because it's the subtleties. You need to be able to hear the subtleties.
Yeah, and Jack Nicholson is just like.
I would also recommend watching the made-for-TV version of The Shining.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it has the guy from, actually this guy's in a lot of Stephen King's TV movies that they adapt from his books, but it's the guy from Wings. It's one of the pilots from Wings. I forget his name. I forget which one. Yeah, you ever seen that show Wings?
So many movies right now.
But it's actually really good, and it's more true to the book. It's more, it follows the book a lot more. So it's not as good, obviously, as the movie. It's not as artistically good, but because it follows the book more, I enjoy it still, because I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen in the book, and and you're like, oh, okay, you get the full story instead of the artsy fartsy Kubrick version.
That's so funny, and no, I don't think anybody on the planet except for you knows about the TV version.
I have been trying to find it everywhere on any streaming device.
What a fan you are.
Oh, I love Stephen King.
You were like, have you seen the TV version? I'm like, girl, no. What are you talking about?
Oh my God,
like, not even born when it was made.
I love all his movies, his books. Like, I would go to Maine and just stand outside his house and not bother him, but just like stand and stare at his house. Just be like, wow.
Stephen King, we love you. You are a king. Okay.
I'm going to cry when he finally goes. I mean, he's not that old, but he will die one day, and I'm going to cry that day. I'm going to be so sad.
I think that's it. I think that's it for us on The Shining.
Yeah, and then next time we record, which it needs to be soon, but next time we will go back to talking about like our own personal experiences. And I think we should do, like we were talking about, the urban legends. One of our favorite urban legends. I do have some new, because it's been forever since we recorded, but I do have some new experiences. Actually, one just happened to me last night. Scared me to death. So
okay, I love it. So next episode, we are going to talk about some real scary shiz that's been going down in our personal lives.
Okay, sounds good. All right,
sign us off, Mallory.
All right, well, this has been Frickin' Scary with Holly and Mallory. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.